Hi everyone, today's video is for any of us who is in professional life, is in the profile where we need to directly interact with the client, either through email, through calls, or certain times we have to meet the client to understand their requirements when we are a part of a core team of the project or we are managing the team, and we have to understand the client's requirement, and for that we are directly interacting with them. There are certain situations where client generates the requirement which we know is, as of now, is not feasible or convenient or practical to follow. For example, sometimes client requests us to reduce the timeline, and we know how we are performing, how the team is bringing their productivity, and reducing the timeline would create somewhere would become a barrier in between. Or the client asks us to dissolve certain guidelines or certain policies, or they want us to make certain amendments which would have an impact on the cost also. So yes, it becomes very difficult for us in these situations how we can say no effectively. Hence we should not be losing our business, or it should not agitate a client anywhere, or it should not annoy them. Hence we should be knowing that how we can handle these difficult situations where we can at least put across our opinions in front of them, so that they should know what we are saying is in the favor of the project and in the favor of the quality output, because that is what we are perceiving. So yes, let's try and understand that when it becomes very difficult for us to say no in certain situations in front of the client, how we can manage that situation. Yeah. First thing is we can listen to the client and we can acknowledge him, whatever he's saying, whatever his viewpoints are, whatever he wants to try to make us understand. We have to acknowledge that. Completely denying on the first stance or the first space would not be a right or accurate professional attitude. Rather, listen to the client, understand, comprehend the situation, that why he's saying what he is saying. That would be very easy to first create the foundation of your entire discussion and your entire communication. Now, when you have acknowledged the client, you have understood his perspective, you have comprehended it, you can buy time from the client in terms of if the bandwidth allows you, just buy the time from the client, come back to your team, come back to your management, brief them about the situation, tell them what the client is requested for, and see if there is any feasibility. If by just putting little bit of extra effort we can perform that way what the client wants, then where is the harm? Let's do it. But at least get it validated from your team members with their expert knowledge, with the proficiency they come up with. They all are subject matter experts in their own way. How we can do it the way the client wants. But if you think, no, there is no such possibility, we cannot reduce the timeline, we cannot make the amendments, we cannot add the policies, we cannot, there is no such possibility what the client requested for, we have to come back to the client. In that case, we have to bring logic, whatever we are saying. We have to support every statement of ours with the logical reasoning. Let's say the first logical reason you would give is that if you are asking us to reduce the timeline, everyone will perform in hurriedness, and chances of having more mistakes in hurriedness are more. The resources are prone to make errors when we do anything in jiffy and everything in like very in a very hurriedness. So yeah, that logical reason. The second thing, you can say that it may impact the quality output of the entire project, or it will reduce the functionality of the entire project. So this is how you will bring the logical reason, because that will help you and that will give you the edge in persuading the client throughout the discussion when you are saying no to them. And now when everything is explained with logical reasoning, what you can do is you can bring the suggestions, you can offer the alternatives as a subsequent step in that discussion or in that email, where the client should know that you have made an effort and you have come up with some midway, where, for example, if the final deliverables are required to be submitted on 12th day, but the client has requested you to submit everything on 8th day, but now there's a midway that you have already explained the situation to the team, and team is agreed to putting on extra efforts, and we can perform accordingly, and that's why we are ready to submit everything on the 10th day. So yes, you're bringing some midway, and somewhere you are trying to explain things that this is what we can do. It does not look like that we are saying no to the client. Rather, it should look like that, oh, we have made an effort and we are working in favor of the project only, and we are working in favor of the client only. So that's how it needs to get reflected. The next thing which you need to explain to your client is the benefits, that how what you are proposing, what you are suggesting, it has its own benefits attached to it. How? So yeah, we can try explaining that. So benefits could be that yes, it will have a permanent solution and it would not have a temporary one, and it will be very sustainable and it will be very reliable, and any such thing. If the client is pushing you over, then you do just prepare the bullet points or benefits from your perspective you can think of, and you can just add all these bullets in the email or over the call. And another thing which you can do is that whatever the client is proposing and forcing you to do on reducing the timeline, or maybe adding some or subtracting some guidelines or instructions in the project, or costing negotiation is happening, then you should involve the risk factors which are involved. That if we go ahead with what you are suggesting, just let the client know that what he or she is suggesting, that how it has so many risk factors involved. So prepare your algorithm based on that, and then reflect it somewhere and mention it somewhere in the email that this is what you see. Maybe it will reduce the functionality of the project, or it will somewhere get to compromise the quality, or if the client is really pushing you to replace the resources, then you can let him know how the cost matrix will get affected, and how everything needs to be changed, and it will take rather more time. It will consume more time because the new resources would be hired, or somebody would get replaced, and the knowledge transfer would be done, and training would be done, and again the entire thing should be starting from the scratch, at least in that new resources case. So yeah, you can go ahead and telling the consequences, or rather risk factors involved, in a very clear-cut point. The last thing which I would want to say is that when you are trying to explain things, and when you are saying no with some alternate suggestion, with some logical reasoning, with some benefits and consequences, the other important factor is that in which tone you are speaking, or in which tone you are writing email. That tone has to be assertive enough. There is a very thin line between being aggressive and being assertive. So you need to follow the golden rule of 3 P's, which we called a rule of assertiveness. You need to be polite, you need to be professional, and you need to be positive throughout, which will give the assurance to the client that okay, his project is in the safe hands. So yes, nowhere we should reflect our attitude that we are being rude, or we are just denying everything what he's saying. No, we are being very assertive, and we are putting across our opinion. That's how it should showcase through the way we speak and the way we communicate. So yeah, this was all about today's video, where I wanted to explain things when we have to say no effectively to the client, how we can say it. At least we can put across our opinions in front of them and explain our perspectives. So yeah, let's meet soon in the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care, all the best.